Hey everyone, I hope all is well. Checking in as we finish up in chapter 8. So, making sure you guys have everything that you need to do your presentations. So, this week and next, finishing young adulthood and moving towards older adulthood. And as we did the other day, wanted to be sure that you guys had everything you need for young adulthood. So we were finishing last class with this slide on the alcohol and drug use being at its highest in college students. So I know that this is a topic sometimes it's a little bit harder to talk about. And it's real to all of us. So, I think actually for about 70 to 80% of folks, alcoholism is definitely not a problem. So, problem drinking and whatnot. This is where your the genogram is important. So looking at the genogram and making sure, everything in the history of your family is taken into account. So I'm putting this over to, bring it all home together. The very start of class in our human behavior in the social environment class, we did a genogram. As I said, you'll use this on a lot of your assessments and clients. And so I'm glad nobody's erased it because this is something that follows you all the way through your life. So you've got your family tree. You also have the eco map of the way that you spend your time throughout the day and things that you do all throughout the day. So making sure that that folks that you live with, your family history would never change. Now, family going forward, if you have a new addition to the family, that may change. And your eco map can change because you might change things. Maybe it's that we get put on probation in school, like we have bad grades, we didn't finish our assignments, didn't come to class, which is hard to do nowadays because of the pandemic. You can watch everything online. Or you're just not doing the assignments, which is really where the rubber hits the road. You get put on probation and realize that drinking's a problem. So you kind of change what you're doing throughout. And that's something that is definitely important. Family history, if you have the genetics, say you find out that an uncle is alcoholic, or that you find out someone that is in your family might be alcoholic, then it could help you make sense of the way that you drink. So that's definitely something to consider. Also, if you get picked up or arrested with a DUI, or picked up and in trouble for even just drinking at school, that's something that you may want to also consider. And knowing that you have a predisposition to alcoholism. So, again, getting back to, it's often college, because legally, this is when you begin to drink. And you'll be able to see, sometimes at 21, I know in like European countries, it's as young as like, say, 19. It might even be teenage years, but you start realizing that once you start drinking, you can't stop. And that's kind of what the board can help you identify. So social strengths and hazards, alcoholism. So a predictor, and this, you're getting ready for marriage and family. So predictor of marital, domestic violence, injury, healthcare, risk to fetus, parenting, crime, etc. And that might be, say, for example, something that you start noticing in college. Also, cognitive behavioral programs, so a lot of the addiction recovery programs, they challenge the glamorous effects of alcohol, kind of the stuff that even in the video you watched last week about, say, Paris Hilton, some of her challenges that she saw with the drinking that she had. So, and then hoping to get a wrap on that before college is over, because that would be huge. And if not, hoping the intervention programs help you later on. So, it is a larger predictor of domestic violence, because a lot of times people don't know what they're getting into or what's going on if there's drinking and alcoholism going in. So I wanted to also connect you guys with some of the programs that they have with domestic violence. So there's a few educational videos you can look up more, but I did want to start with this one and kind of get out of the way for you.
Towards the end, he would get upset if I would do anything without asking him first, even if it was something for my kids. Argue with me, scream at me in front of the kids and stuff, putting his foot in my face, throwing food at me, waking up with water being poured in my face.
But when it was physical, it was like a war in the house. It was so dramatic and traumatic. The isolation for me was by far more difficult than the physical abuse. I no longer had that security that no matter what happens, my parents are going to be there for me, my family's going to be there for me. I had got beat up really bad with a coffee pot. It became a weapon, and it was sharp edges, and he was coming to me in my hand. Stop, please, you're hurting me. He was like, no, I'm gonna kill you, bitch, I'm gonna kill you. And I just remember getting weak and like seeing my blood on the floor.
Well, he had threatened to kill himself, and then it went from that to that he could kill me and then himself, because then I'd be gone. People say, well, why don't you just leave if you're not happy or whatever? And it's not that easy.
I was facing, you know, not having a place to live, didn't have work. It was very complex.
I didn't have any control of our finances. I didn't know how much money we had in the bank half the time. He paid all the bills. Almost everything was in his name. You are down to the point where you've lost everything. And then your self-esteem is like so shallow that you think less of yourself.
Oh, I needed schooling. I needed housing. I needed clothes. I needed my kids. So I had the war I had right now in my life. A shelter.
She would call me and see how I was doing. She put me in touch with an attorney that I could talk to if I had questions.
Who were here to listen. Well, that's a big difference because I had nobody.
It took 10 years for me to get out, unfortunately. It took 10 years, and it was the last 2 years that it got so bad.
Other places looked down on me. They thought I wasn't gonna make it. I never got my kids back. I was tired of drugs. I was gonna go back to my husband. They didn't never. I never. They said, "Shrink, you can do this. You're gonna make it."
They're here to help, encourage you, and help you to do whatever it is that you want to do to make your life better.
That guidance.
All right.
That I haven't had for a long time. It's strength to know that somebody cares.
So when you get the chance, look up a few other domestic violence videos. And I wanted to give you the rest of the time to work on your projects for your presentations next week in the final paper. So have a good weekend, and I will see you guys next week. And see ya later. Jay.